Only a week ago, the Independent Office for Budgetary Responsibility reported a big fall in UK borrowing, and so the deficit is falling faster in the UK than any other G7 country. The fiscal headroom that created was deliberate. It was due to tough choices that this government has taken so that we can have what we need in a time of crisis. I know people are worried about rising oil and gas prices, particularly people who are on heating oil, who won't get the price cap in April. I raised that today with the Chancellor. She was clear that the only way out of this crisis in the long term is to de-escalate tensions, not to get further into bed with the Americans like Nigel Farage and Kemi Badenoch would have us do, but to de-escalate this conflict. But in the immediate term, we need to put our arms around people who are struggling with those bills. I've raised it already with the Chancellor. There'll be further meetings this week. I'm about to meet the Energy Minister, and we'll raise it again with the Deputy Prime Minister. I'm calling on the government to use fixed payments to people who are on heating oil, but also to look at the longer term. How do we help people to transition away from heating oil, which for the second time in a few years has been subject to a massive price spike? And this is why we need to give people the financial support to transition, to better insulate their homes and to use different energy sources. Thank you, Mandate Speaker. I've already got constituents in places like Weardale, Teesdale and Gaunless Valley who are paying double for their heating oil to what they would have paid a week ago, and some of them simply can't afford to fill up their tanks. Thanks to the fiscal headroom that this Chancellor has created, there is money in the system to support them. Will she look at things like fixed-term payments in the short term, but also in the longer term, perhaps an expansion of the Warm Homes Grant to help them to transition to cheaper forms of fuel?
Chancellor.
I thank my honourable friend for that question. As I set out in my statement, we put £15 billion into the Warm Homes plan at the spending review last year to better insulate people's homes and help them to move to cheaper forms of energy. But I do recognise the immediate problems around heating oil. That's why I've asked the Competition and Markets Authority to look at price gauging, but also why the Financial Secretary to the Treasurer will be meeting with MPs, and I hope that on behalf of his constituents in Bishop Auckland, he will be there next week, on Wednesday.